This is Essay Chronicles telling you a new story titled The Night of the Giant Bird by my grandfather, and this is my telling of his story. Opening shot of a dark, eerie forest. The scene transitions to a parked car in the woods. Narrator. In the depths of the Great Depression, when desperation drove men to seek sustenance in the wilderness, two friends ventured in the heart of darkness, unaware of the horrors that awaited them. A young man, John, and his friend Bill, armed with a small rifle, traversed through the dense forest, their breath visible in the cold night air. John, food was scarce, and we needed to hunt for survival. But of course, little did we know, being teenagers, something sinister lurked within the shadows. And in the forest grows eerily quiet as John and Bill exchange wary glances. Suddenly, Bill points upward. His eyes widen in terror. Bill, look up there. Cuts to a tree with an enormous eye from an animal that he can't fully see through the branches, sending shivers down their spines. A monstrous bird with wings spanning the breadth of nightmares. Watch them from above, its gaze piercing their souls. Bill raises his rifle. But when my grandfather told me that he was yelling at him not to do it, but he did it anyway. So determination etched on his face while John frantically tries to dissuade him. John, you don't know what you're dealing with. Ignoring his warnings, Bill fires at the bird, which is crazy, unleashing a wrath they could never imagine. The bird lets out a blood-curdling screech before swooping down towards him in massive form. Its massive form casting a shadow over them. Enraged by the audacity of mortal men, the creature descended upon them with a fury unmatched by any earthly beast. John and Bill flee for their lives as a monstrous bird pursues them relentlessly, its talons slash into the air with deadly precision. John, we ran as if our lives depended on it, because it did, for indeed they did, but the nightmare was far from over. But as they get in their car, speeding away from the forest, the sounds of the bird's screeches echoing in darkness, the creature swoops down its talons, tearing through the car's top with ease. No sanctuary could shield them from the wrath of the avian terror. It clawed, it scraped, its hunger for vengeance. Because it was shot at. Who wouldn't defend itself? So John and Bill finally escape to the safety of the town, their hearts pounding with terror as they recounted their harrowing ordeal to disbelieving ears, because, side note, they had to go get their car repaired because it actually had their windows smashed and the top of their hood of the car was mangled. And the mechanic just could not believe them. They just thought they had, maybe they were just drunk driving or, messing around and, fell in a ditch. But, John, voice trembling, but the scars, both seen and unseen, would remain forever etched in our minds, for some nightmare never truly ends. And so, remember, dear listeners, beware the shadows, or who knows what horrors may lurk within. End the story. Now, the story was told from my grandfather, and he told me it and basically gave me that him and his friend were in the forest hunting for jackrabbits because it was the depression and they were trying to get food. I mean, this was hardcore stuff. You live or you suffer with no food. It's just very different from now. And so they were hunting at nighttime, and they all of a sudden saw this bird up there, and it was this giant eye because it was so dark. And his friend just shot his rifle up there because he just was that type of guy. And it was the wrong thing to do because it literally came down and tried to attack him. And so they ran. And he told me this story when I was a kid. And I just, that their car did get damaged and they did have to get it repaired. And they actually had to tell some people at the town what had happened. But they didn't believe him. So honestly, that was pretty crazy because I didn't think that was ever true. But when he told me that they had to get it repaired, I was like, that's a lot more credence to it. And I just believe him. So, I'd like to mention again, I'm doing these stories because my grandfather isn't around anymore. So I wanted to give his stories some life so people can listen to it. I'm going to get better every day, try to improve, try to get better with audio, get better with pronunciation. So, but enjoy the stories because they're going to keep coming. I'm going to keep on trying to be consistent because that's what you need to do. Consistency, right? Consistency with everything. So I'll let you go and I will see you later soon.